Hello, are you out there? It's Mark with HFD, and I am back with DM wanted anybody to die, and I kept preventing it. So he killed the party mascot, which I can already tell you, boo, that's not good. You never go after the party's pets. End of story. This is coming from Lilium Caramel Corn, who gave me the okay to share the story. Thank you so much. And for any of the hardcore fans, stay tuned at the end for some deets on the channel. Okay, let's go. Extra long. A few months ago, I was part of a wonderful virtual D&D 5e game that had a sudden turn at the very end. The participants were the couple, two players who came as a unit, warlock and sorcerer. Could be problematic, a couple, but doesn't have to be problematic. Rocky, don't remember his class, but he threw rocks. Yeah. That tracks. The Oni, Warlock Barbarian, my character's bestie, and a nice player. Oh, actually an Oni? That would be so cool. Holy cows. Oh my gosh. The DM, a random guy found on a forum, and me with my character, the goat, a small goat woman, and bard, also the greatest of all time. We were 5th or 6th level, which is such a sweet spot to play at. Sweet spot. Sorry, I won't do that. No more open hand. We had been playing for a couple months by the time our final game came around. Honestly, everything had been normal and things progressing as usual. We felt like we kind of sped through any NPC or social interactions and started to realize the rotation was to go to the castle, get a quest, minimal dialogue, then go to the dungeon for the session. It's not my favorite way to play, but the players really made up for it. Okay, that's probably just a little limitation on the DM's experience, if I had to guess. We had wonderful dialogue between each other, and it seemed like the DM was cool to let that happen. I admit I felt pride at the positive attention from the party with how much they loved the goat. Becoming the party mascot naturally felt great, and I performed my role proudly. All of that to say, everybody loved having me there, and specifically the character I performed brought a lot of energy to the table. That's awesome. That's what we all hope for when we are playing with strangers, acquaintances, good friends. Well, after being rushed out of the castle again, the party made their way to some ruins for the next leg of the adventure. We hadn't met any definitive BBEG yet, but it seemed like we were getting close to how dangerous things were getting. Oh, there were a lot of close calls during the session. There were giant centipedes hiding in marshy waters with a deadly venom. That's cool. The party managed to resist or avoid most of the bites, just narrowly, but the NPC follower wasn't so lucky and looked rough for the rest of the dungeon. We fought through demons and centipedes, had the ground crumble beneath our feet to lava pits, and defeated a shambling bones infused with hydrated plant life before we even reached the entrance to the rune's interior. The entire time I felt rather proud of myself. I had been doing quite well in maintaining the health of the party and prevented multiple downs or even deaths. In the last battle with the shambling bones, I had even prevented the Oni from going down twice. In character, the party was feeling rough and beaten. But we still had to progress into the rune to find our MacGuffin. Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're MacGuffining the world. Yeah. We took a moment to sit down and plan/recoup. We even had some cute RP moments. Eventually, the DM had voices whispering to the couple, egging them to go into the rune and interrupting our short rest. The couple is a real couple, right? I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm just saying it could be a problem. We went in and had to fight back against supposedly respawning ghosts. That is to say, we were being encouraged not to take a rest even though our characters were knocking on death's door. We just kept going. That's interesting. I could see for a long rest, your DM saying, no, there's not time for a long rest right now. It's not the appropriate time. It's not what I've designed. Let's tax your resources a little more. And as a DM, you can just say that. You can just say to your players, hey, folks, let's stretch this out a little more. You guys are level 5. You've got multiple spell slots and ability resets. let's not just long rest. Let's push your capabilities a little bit. You just say that's what you're doing to the real players. Now, that's for a long rest. For a short rest, in general, you should probably defer to the party when they want to take a short rest. A short rest is meant to represent 30 minutes to an hour to catch their breath. In particular, if they haven't got into the runes yet, they should be able to recoup, bandage their wounds, get some hit points back, and recover some stuff. So I think there's a delicate balance there, but I think long rests are very much more up to the DM, and I think short rest should be more up to the... Sorry, I keep... Short rest should be up to the party. Let's continue. We fight through and get to a room with 4 statues. Our poor NPC friend, who had been literally I had been keeping above water in that last room, was laid down to rest while the venom kept getting worse. We tried to short rest again and got through it, but the DM kept insisting something was coming and that something was going to happen. But I think our party agreed we just have to deal with it because we couldn't keep going without the rest. The DM declared after an hour of rest, a wind spirit guardian of some sort attacks us, telling us we must protect the prisoners. Those statues were actually the petrified bodies of some world-ending threats, apparently. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. We always talk about like cockatrice and Medusa statue victims, in like, maybe they get damaged over the decades or centuries of being statues and the arms and limbs get broken off. You can't recover them. Some people are like, let's revive them and then get the gear off of them. And other people are like, yeah, let's just revive them because we're nice and we'll bring them back to life and learn about historical shit. We're like Bill and Ted. We want to find out about historical people. But the idea that the people frozen in stone are actually critical to the story is pretty cool. In my book, that's original. I've never heard of that. So I might steal that. That's actually really nice. That's a nice touch. Where are we at? The DM declares prisoners, yeah. And our MacGuffin wasn't even in this room. We tried to insist we weren't trying to free the prisoners, but the spirit attacked anyway. After preventing another death with a heal spell, the DM declares one of our party members gets thrown into the statues by the spirit and it lands in the water, unleashing a 12-foot tall Oni, who then gave the rest of his pals a soak. Wait, not your character Oni. An Oni, which is like a powerful like demon spirit? At this point, I'm getting a little baffled by the turn of events. A fight breaks out, but the spirit abandons the fight and leaves us with the world-ending threats. The statues? Takes the statues. The NPC is knocked down into death save throws. Oh wait, no he wasn't. The moment he went down, the venom activated and turned him into a faceless, mindless demon of sorts. Really messed up stuff. Wow, that is also actually extremely cool. However, from centipede venom, it doesn't really... Were they demon centipedes? Question. It's still cool though. Like a poison or venom that like progresses long enough, if it's not dealt with, turns you into a faceless, weak level demon. That's actually kind of cool. It's kind of like a zombification, but it's demonic magic. Yeah, I like that a lot. Really messed up stuff. The newly discovered BBEG decides we're not worth the slaughter and even professes to be interested in the Oni in our party. They left, and our party tried to pick up what scraps we had left of ourselves. So again, the Oni character has gone with the BBEG. Don't tell me there's 2 Onis. That's a bummer, though. Then what's the Oni player supposed to do? Make a new character? The tension between the characters is high. Some scathing RP words are exchanged, and eventually characters decide it's best to keep going. Everybody was having a great time, or so I thought. And I was so pleased with how the narrative between characters was developing. We start exploring the lower area. A man offering a puzzle shows up, we do his puzzle, and we move forward. It's the contents of the puzzle. Irrelevant. I think it was... Oh, here we go. Here's the key, or you could take the poop bag. But the real key is in the poop bag or something like that. He's like, it's either this very good thing or this horrible, horrible, smelly thing. Which do you want? Oh, I'm doing the thing again. Damn it. Oh, I keep doing that. But yeah, that's a great puzzle. And you're supposed to take the thing you're not supposed to want. And it's really the thing that you should want. That's clever. That's clever. Ish. We keep going and eventually get to the part of the ruins that's crumbling into a cliff face. But the DM says my character notices a footpath in the cliff face that my little goat could traverse to get to a separated part of the hall. I take note of it, but decide I'd rather wait for the party to be together first, which is smart. If the Oni character's off separate from the main party and then you separate, it really sounds like, is it the DM who's trying to get you to all separate apart? Or is it truly driven by the players to break the group up into many smaller groups or singulars? What's a singular group? I don't know. Some conversations happen between characters before the DM insists to me that I should take a look at the separated area. I don't know if I like that so much. So I hop over. The other person ready to follow me gets blocked off instantly by the sudden appearance of a solid wall. I assume the DM knows what he's doing. He's railroading you is what the DM's doing. He's like, no, this is really cool. You're the only one that can do it. It's really going to make the story awesome. I need this to happen. Solid wall. No. The goat meets an old man who's willing to speak with her. He invites her into a room with history etched onto the pillars. I only get as far as being shown the pillars before we are taken back to the rest of the party. They continue down the hall into the next puzzle before the DM comes back to me. Oh, I see. Cutting back and forth. Yeah, not that you, the goat, got transported back. Understood. He asked me if the goat will have been talking to this old man for a minute. I said, sure. I guess you talked to him for a minute or two. Yeah, you went over the little ledge to this unknown area at the DM's request. So presumably you're going to hear what the old guy's got to say and learn the history on the columns. Yeah, okay. The DM asked me to make a Constitution save and a Wisdom save. My first not-so-great rolls of the night gave me double sevens. The DM declares my character is dead. Shit. Okay. He then explains the person I'm talking to was casting a spell on me that kills a person instantly if the caster speaks to them for 1 minute. I didn't know how else to describe his voice other than seemingly giddy. Certainly more energetic than it had been all night. He gets ready to move on, but everyone was just stunned silent. I think he realized something, and in the middle of saying I could make a new character, he pivoted and said I could start making death saving throws. The whole time I'm making them, he says nobody in the party knows where I am and nobody can physically get to me. Oh my gosh. It's interesting because it seems like your DM is extremely novice in this case. To their credit, some of the things they're presenting to you are very adventurous. Really fun storytelling. It seems very imaginative and original to me. Like some of the things you've described, I'm like, yeah, I would want to. I wish I had thought of that. I would love to play against that as a character in a campaign myself. So I think the DM you're describing here has a huge amount of a great future for them, but deliberately goading a player to take their character off alone and then stealthily killing them, meaning that like no one else can come help you, and you didn't even realize you were in a fight. You didn't even know, your character didn't know that they even needed to try to protect themselves. They had no clue they were in danger. They just failed the save throw and died. It wasn't like you were searching for traps. You fell into the trap and you fall, rocks fall, you die. It wasn't even like that. He's just like a bonk on the head. Oh yeah, that old guy, he's the big bad evil guy. You didn't know that, but yeah, he was whispering a spell for a minute and sucked your soul out. What? You should have role played that better, right? Like that's not a story. It's not even dramatic. right? It wasn't foreshadowed. It's not dramatic in the moment. And you and the other players can do nothing about it. Therefore, it's not interactive. It's not role playing. It's not playing a game because there's just nothing any of you can do. That's bad DMing. Okay. Well, I missed two, made two, and the final one was a miss. I could almost hear the DM exhale before he said, "All right, you're welcome to start making a new character and we can reintroduce you next session." Oh, no. I'm going to pause right there. Character dies. The new character can come in as soon as the player can make the character. We're playing 2, 4, 6 hour sessions. You do not leave a person who has come to join you and play along with you for an hour or more with nothing to do. Absolutely not. If you are a DM who's going to kill off characters, which I get is a part of role-playing games, you are also a DM who knows how to reintroduce a character in 5 minutes. A new one. Sorry. What are we doing here? We're here to play games together, not sit off to the side. I guess I'm going to eat potato chips and go drink Pepsis till I'm unconscious because I have nothing else to do for the rest of the night. Thanks, guys. Thanks. That was great. No. Oh, wait. All right. Time in. Let's keep going here. I'm hot. I said, okay, that's all right. Initially, I just felt bad and defeated. Like I was ready to be a big girl and accept the loss of a loved character, but something just didn't feel right about any of that. I spoke up again and a couple seconds later said, wait, no, that's not all right. I don't like what just happened. I feel like I didn't get a choice in it. Yeah. I'm going to do one more time out. My opinion, maybe not popular, is that as a DM or a GM, you should not care if a character lives or dies. It's just like that's not what you're doing there as a DM or GM is character life and death. You shouldn't care. It shouldn't matter to you in the slightest. I mean that. Oh, what about the consequences of? We don't play a role-playing game for consequences. FYI, if we're just having fun entertaining ourselves with our friends. Think about that. Well, if there's no consequences, then where's the danger? I don't watch a. It's not about consequences. I don't play a video game for consequences, right? I'm not playing Baldur's Gate 3 for the consequences. I'm not playing Monopoly with my friends for the consequences. I'm just trying to have fun. Think about that. My advice to DMs, GMs, and players is to advocate for if a character goes down for any reason in a fight, they are KO'd. If the player is willing to let their character die because it was an epic moment or they feel like it was the right time or some sort of self-sacrifice, the player can say, yes, my character's dead. I will go about creating a new character. If not, the player should say, I would like for my character to be KO'd. And what that means mechanically, say in a combat, is that they cannot be woken up in that combat. They are out for the rest of the fight. So there is a consequence in that sense that if one character after another gets KO'd, eventually you could get to a TPK. But it does mean that should the party prevail, at the end of the fight, they may revive their unconscious friend. There you go. So there's some small consequence, but it leaves the choice up to the player. Because why wouldn't you? Why the F would you care as a DM if a character actually perma-died? Who cares? That's not why you're making a game world and playing it with your friends for 2 years straight. I killed you. Consequences. Okay, time in. Let's get this finished, hopefully. The DM told me what happened was fair. He didn't know what I was talking about and that he let me roll, so it's fine. But I wasn't taking any of those as valid excuses for just declaring my character dead. That's because you never had a choice. That's the difference. Well, you got a dice roll, so I didn't do it. That was random chance. That's what the DM is saying. But because you never chose to get into that conflict, that life or death situation, to the point that your DM's like, why don't you go over the ledge to the death trap guy? It's like, functionally, it was a death trap that the DM, like, goaded your goat into. and locking me off from the rest of the party to make sure I die. I told the the group call, that I have to go think about that. I'd talk to them later. Okay, so you're like on a VTT. Well, the moment I hit that disconnect call button, I'm kicked from the server. Ooh. That's immaturity. As long as you didn't like swear at the DM in the moment and you're like, screw you, I hate you all, I'm quitting. Like, that would be the only reason to kick someone. Otherwise, you're just like, all right, cool down. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll sort it out over the week. I know your feelings are hurt, obviously. Go cool down, take a chill, take a break from it. We'll sort it out. We'll get this fixed up. We'll all feel okay. But when a DM is just like, rage quit, game over, that's a straight maturity issue. There's nothing you can do about that, except we all grow up and learn how to handle our emotions a little better. The events after that were communicated to me via the Oni's player. The DM said that instant deaths like that were on the table and that they would happen again. The couple were immediately unhappy with this decision and said that if the goat wasn't part of the game, they didn't really have anything else keeping them there. Whew, that's a sick burn. Holy shoot. Rocky said he didn't know it was that type of game and left as well. He's like, I don't want my character to die that way. That doesn't sound like fun. The Oni kept getting the exact same excuses as how killing the goat was fair and fine to do. The Oni did the math on the roll after learning the passing number and communicated that my character only had a 45% chance of making those rolls to avoid instant death. From the goat's official death to the server being empty to players, it was 30 minutes. Slow clap. That's awesome. The whole game that had been going so well up until that moment had died in 30 minutes. I was pretty much just left with my thoughts after that, but I started to realize some things about the session. It was really lethal. We thought it was just a really tough dungeon, but now that I think about it, everything was designed to kill our characters. If we hadn't avoided the venom, some of our down PCs would have instantly died. If we had missed a deck save in those lava pits, I bet it would have been instant death. Yeah, lava is pretty hard to tank, in my humble opinion. The two giant mini bosses before we even get into the runes, who did massive numbers that were only softened by me playing my role as a bard well. Sure, like a single crit from one of them could have been enough to possibly insta-kill or just full health to down a character, I would guess, that kind of thing. You got to watch out for those accidental crit hits where the attack roll is so high by itself that when critting it could just be... You shouldn't have those in a game. Timeout, we're almost done. Not all the time, but most of the time, as you're doing combat or having environmental engagements, damage should be incremental. Now, where the threat is that a series of bad choices, like where the party's confronting every possible thing that could hurt them and not making any sort of strategic choices, so they just keep putting their hand in the bear trap over and over and over, and you're like, dude, you guys, like, come on. Or a series of bad rolls where the bad guys roll good, the good guys roll bad, and those add up over a string in a session, and now you have characters getting KO'd, possibly characters dying. That can happen. But it really shouldn't come down to just a one dice roll kind of thing. It just shouldn't, because it never feels good. That's why. You want to be able to see it coming and being like, oh man, that last battle beat us up. We're all at low health. We've used up our healing. We're only back to half health. We aren't in a position where we can take that long rest. This is going to be deadly in the next step. So you see it all coming along. But like anything that's just going to take a person down from max to zero, every time that's ever happened to me or any player I've ever been with just goes, that, like, right? They're like at 24 hit points, and now it's zero. In one act, one thing goes wrong, and every person I've ever role played with just goes, that seems like OP. Everyone's always going to think that. So I'm just telling DMs and GMs out there, try to avoid it. most of the time. Like if every 10 sessions you have one thing that's like super dangerous, you're like, guys, this is going to be pretty challenging in here. Watch out. And like meta, you're telling your party that. I think you're okay. But if that's just a regular for your system, your players just aren't going to like on the regular their characters just getting smacked down to the ground. They will not like it. That's probably not what they're there for, particularly if they're playing D&D. All right, let's go. I was left wondering why in the world he was trying to kill us so suddenly, and if maybe me preventing so many deaths was our only supportive character made me a target for the DM. The hostility was so sudden. Well, at least I came out of the game with some wonderful artwork and memories of that party. I guess the great part of the DM being reluctant to engage us in RP was that he's oddly barely in my memories of that game. So the DM didn't come across to you as a strong player. That's probably for the best. It really was mostly made up by the wonderful players, which is a shame because I don't deny the DM had a wonderful world and interesting story to tell. He even insisted we write complex backstories to implement into the game. I had been working with him for a while on developing the goat into his world, but I guess none of that mattered in the end. Somebody had to die, and I guess I was the person he lost patience with. TLDR, DM got bloodthirsty to kill a party member and railroaded my character to an early grave after your character saved the other PCs multiple times. All right. Great story. Thank you so much for sharing. If anyone listened, thank you so much. For longtime channel viewers, I was fiddling around yesterday after posting Saturday's video, looking over metrics, organizing playlists, multiple channels. I was at it for a couple of hours just fiddling around, like looking at numbers, patting myself on the back. And I essentially did a group sort out of my hundreds and hundreds of videos for some that had been privated over many years. Just videos that fell flat, videos that I had uploaded that I wasn't happy with, things I had re-recorded. There's, 20, 25 of them. And I was like, I have so much clutter. I'm going to delete these privated videos. Some of them have been for 2 years just sitting out there. No one's seen them. I don't look at them. I don't need them. I know I don't want to readdress them. So I group sort in the YouTube studio thing, and I batch delete. Now, when you delete, it does a checkbox and says this is permanent. And I was fatigued from having been just bouncing around spreadsheets and looking at numbers for hours. And I hit click. And every 5 or 10 seconds, the video disappears. It actually takes a little bit to send out the thing. So it's going to take a couple of minutes to delete all these. And I see a thumbnail. I don't usually use thumbnails. I see a thumbnail going up, and I'm all, oh, that video isn't privated. It was my kick the puppy thing I did with Dungeon Lord J. Yeah. And I'm like, I didn't want to delete that. And I instantly go, oh shit. I've just selected all of my videos, all my long form videos, because they're separate from short. Shorts videos are on one panel, long run another. I just deleted my whole catalog. And I'm looking around the screen like I'm looking at the YouTube studio screen going like, where's the cancel button? I know there's no cancel button, but I'm looking, I'm like, oh, F. It's all gone. And I close the entire Google window. I just exit. I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop it. But that's not how it works. YouTube Studio, when you do batch stuff or when you're uploading a really long, like a video that's going to take 5 minutes to upload, like an hour long, it tells you can navigate away. It literally says you can navigate away from this browser page and go do other stuff. We'll keep working on this. And I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like taking your requests, it's storing them somewhere in your machine and then sending them off to YouTube, or it sends to YouTube. I don't know. But once it's sent, there's no calling it back. I reopen the window, I go back in, and I'm back in my YouTube studio and it's just saying like, you can navigate away from the page. We'll do this stuff. And so I'm just like, oh, so this all happens in like 30 seconds. And then I have to wait like literally a minute or two for all the stuff to finish processing. And it's at that moment I realize YouTube Studio only lets you grab up to 50 at most videos at a time to look at. It's just a max. I think it'll do like think it sorts by like 15, 30, or 50 or something like that, but 50 is the max. And I'd been dealing with hundreds of videos. So the good news is that it ultimately, when I select it all, it's sorted by date, always most recent to oldest. So my last 50 long form videos were in that page, and they're all gone. And so I did the quick math. I didn't put out any videos in October because my aunt had been failing health, and my wife and I were taking care of her in the last month of her life. So October, I didn't do any videos this last year. And so, yeah, ultimately it knocked me back to spring of 2024. It sucks. The channel was rocking pretty hard back in like last spring, last summer. I was having like really good, every week getting, good number of views for my channel. I was very proud of it. Stuff had slowed down a lot for me through the fall and the winter. I was just inconsistent with stuff, but whatever. All this to say, people have noticed, but I'm not trying to delete the channel. It sucks. I possibly could reach out to YouTube and get them back. I don't exactly know. I've never tried anything like that. And my channel's so small, it's not like I have some contact. There's no like rep with me. Like they don't care. I barely function as a YouTube channel. So I think they're gone. All that said, I am going to probably try to re-record Dystopian's 8-part saga. And I know Art Monso also had a 3-parter. I'm probably going to try and put that back out as well, like re-record it. But when I do those, because it's recycled, I don't want to bore the hell out of everyone. I'll whatever I get done for those in the coming weeks, I will upload, but I won't announce it. It'll just be put back out there. So people might see it as newer videos, but it's not going to notify. I'm not going to notify everyone with those. Just to kind of like stealth it back in there. They will be different. I don't know. I think I might try and like do like a mega video with them. Like I might try and like get through all of Dystopians is a single like 2-hour read, and I probably will do the same. It's a different format. It's a good opportunity for me to try that. Like of doing like just all the parts together. Because some people like to sit down and just hit play and just watch for an hour or two. I don't think it'll hurt anything, but otherwise things are normal. So yeah, I don't know if anyone's. I know at the end of the video, no, like there's like 10 of you watching, but my heart sunk. I'll tell you, I was just like, oh my god, it's gone, and I just knew there was no way to stop it. It really hit me in the gut in the moment. I was like, oh no. We'll move on though. It's fine. I need to freshen up the channel anyway, to be honest, folks. I always tell people I make like 2 coffees a month off of my YouTube, so I'm not worried about the revenue. Even if I lose my monetization, which is possible now, I don't know. I don't really care. It's literally like $10 or $15 a month. I don't do this for the money, but I don't know. I feel like I've definitely noticed things have slowed down since October. I took that break. I don't know if my energy levels changed. Losing my great aunt, she passed away in our house. We actually moved her into our house for her final week of her life, knowing that the end was coming for her. It was hard. You can imagine. We were her closest family. She didn't have any children, no husband. So I don't know. It was a good and hard experience. Good, I think, for my family, my wife and I, our young adult children, to confront death and the passing. So I'm sure this is way more than anyone cares about, but it definitely was impactful for me. It's just like realizing that life changes, nothing stays the same. Facing the passing of someone I've known my entire life, it's okay. But I don't know. I think maybe in the end, losing the last 12 or 13 months of videos isn't a problem. I think I need to reinvigorate, be more creative. I mean, nothing like crazy. I just feel like I need to shift the dial. Change the way the sail is interfacing with the wind that's blowing me through my life, um, just by a few heading changes. We'll see. Maybe the channel will get better. Maybe it won't. I don't know. That's it. But we'll keep going with it. I am having fun. So to any who watch, I do appreciate it, and I will see you on the next one.